Hello, Thomas.
Hello,
Thanks
Mark.
for joining me
How are you?
today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
For those who won't have connected with Thomas before, is probably Thomas hasn't been on my podcast before. We connected quite recently, actually, didn't we, Thomas? On LinkedIn in the community we're a part of, and I immediately thought we're in a similar area. We're working on a similar focus and help people in a similar way, but with different practices, with different methodologies. So I thought it'd be interesting to do a podcast with Thomas today on stress and anxiety, which is, let's be honest, if you're a high achiever, you're building a business, you're leading a team in a corporate environment, or whatever that means for you, even in daily life, if you've got a family, stress is there in the background, and it's a massive problem in our society in the West. Now, there are many practices out there that can help us deal with that, but we're going to talk about how we can actually integrate them into our daily lives, which is the important thing when we're so busy. We've got very little time on our hands. How do we make time for these kind of practices? Thomas, in particular, focuses on Qigong, as he corrected me, the correct naming, which hopefully we can dive into. EFT as well, which is something I've tried in the past. But first of all, Thomas, I'd love to hear a bit more about your story. Like, what's your particular journey to these practices, and how have they helped you up to now in your life?
Thank you very much, Mark. I think everybody can relate to this topic called stress because we all experience it throughout our life. The only question is, can we do anything about it? How can we make it more manageable? How cannot it destroy our life and life experience? You know what? I would like to start back in my childhood. As I haven't been in anybody else's shoes, but I had a troublesome mind, and I had a really stressful uh, childhood. My father had a relationship with alcohol, and I didn't really receive as a son, as a child, that attention, that connection with him. He had his healing journey to do, but for me, for a child, I missed him so much. And I lived my life in general anxiety throughout my life. I wouldn't say I didn't fit in because, yeah, I was likable, talkable. I was a smiley child. I was active as well because loads of tension was running inside of me. So I was involved with sports all the time and activities. But inside, I really didn't enjoy being me. And I was looking to find a way out. I tried to fit in, but it didn't work. I started to learn English at the age of 26. I came to the UK at the age of 27, and it was 23 years ago. I'm still here. Changed my environment because, as many people say, environment dictates performance, and I had to upgrade it just to give the opportunity to myself to become better. And stress was there all the time. But when it hit hard, it was when COVID came, 2020.
Right.
Everything came in big package. My company, I used to work as a conference services manager for 9 years in the city of London, decided not to reopen the venue. So I lost my job, I lost my income. My ex-wife decided to walk out and
Wow.
had enough of our relationship. She decided to take some of my savings, and she decided to take my son. So
Oof.
I was left in the family home completely alone. My drinking buddies disappeared when I wasn't such a good company anymore. And it was really challenging alone. So
Mm.
that is when stress was so high. Uh, I didn't find any other way, just reaching out, find a way for somebody to help me because I couldn't manage it. I never had such a load of stress in my life. And NHS, unfortunately, full of good intentions, and we are grateful for the NHS, but they are just overworked, a little bit
Yeah.
out of date in some areas. Really useful, really support the NHS, but they cannot handle the amount of stress and anxiety that is out there. When I
Yes.
called them, they said, "Here is the pill." I said, "No, thank you. I do not need
Mm.
something that pushes down or dealing with the symptom. I would like to deal with the root cause. How can I survive without pills when I experience such a stressful events in my life. And I said, there is a wait list for a CBT therapy, and that was for 10 months. And I said, what am I going to do from now till the 10 months? Then that's why I contacted you. I need help. And they didn't have an answer to that. So that's when I said, I have a reason to live. I've got my son to love. I feel it inside of me. There is something else I can deliver and offer to the world. And I started to do it my way. And slowly but surely, I met those techniques that I found beneficial. So what I teach now, only those techniques that worked for me, not those that I learned it from a book, but what I experienced, all the benefits, and I'm more than happy to share it with the world. And as you said, Mark, we do slightly different things. There is no one size fits all. We need to experiment, try, be open, courageous to try new things out. Don't give up so soon. And I guarantee that you will find what works for you the best.
Wow, what a story! It's amazing. I mean, COVID was a challenge for so many people. I know people in my family passed away, my extended family, and it really tested everyone, didn't it? I was quite fortunate during that COVID period, in that my life and my work remained quite stable during that time. But I know so many people whose worlds were turned upside down during that time. It was such a profound period of change, and it tested everybody to their limits, I think. But as always, it's there's something to be gained through those really intense challenges. I guess looking back now, same as me. I mean, before that, 2012 to 2019 actually was my greatest challenge with my mental health. So I'd kind of come through it by the COVID time, and I had the practices that helped me get through that particular difficult time. But it's amazing how, if we approach it in the right way, those challenging times can be a real powerful force of evolution. I mean, you can transform yourself completely through those challenges. So it's always a way of saying, instead of going into the victim mentality, oh, it doesn't sound like you did this, but I've lost my job, I've lost my wife, my son has gone, or all of this stuff. You could have gone into victim, and it could have pulled you down into a very, very difficult place. But you took those challenges, and in the same way as I did, I used the pain and the challenges to help push me forward to evolve. Because exactly like you experienced, I went initially to the doctors when I started experiencing depression, 2012, and they don't really understand trauma at all, and they just push you towards medication. Try this one, try this one, try this one. I tried them for about 6 months, and I just felt completely numb, and I just knew this is not the path for me. I have to find something else. I'm such a dire place, and I could see where this medication is going. I'm just going to have to take more and more and more to see any results, and I'm going to be stuck on this for the rest of my life. So I decided at that point, I've got to find another way. I love what you said then about there's no one size fits all, because I then went on a journey around the world, basically trying all different modalities. I tried the Western routes of counseling and psychotherapy, which didn't really work for me. I tried EFT around that side because my mum's a counselor. She eulogized about EFT and how it helping her clients so much. I tried that, but that didn't really work for me so much. But then I explored Eastern practices like meditation and started meditating in Buddhist monasteries on retreat. That began to help me raise awareness of who I was, and I was able to witness the mind and not get caught up in all the dark thoughts. That really helped me. And then I explored shamanism and plant medicine and energetics, and then different coaches in the UK. And I found a method that kind of combined a lot of different things I'd learned into one. And then I was able to then condense it into a program that I help people with. So I love what you said about, you have to really experience what works for yourself. And so then you have a direct experience of what works, rather than reading it in books and then kind of parroting what you think works. You have to know exactly what works for you. And so then you can help others go through a similar challenge.
That is the key. We need to learn to raise or increase our awareness, because the Western society or school system is not built to raise your awareness. It's built, the school system, to create a beautiful, wonderful, another brick in the wall to fit in the system. And nobody cares who you are. And if there would be any reason for you, if any talents, would shine through anything else. One of my favorite story is, for example, Frank Sinatra, who I'm 100% sure he was one of the best singing waiter. But how much more the world can thank him becoming a singer, a full-time singer. So if we do not find those talents inside of us, I think we are missing out, and the world is missing out.
Exactly. And this is what I talk about a lot on social media, which is purpose, but it is interesting how it tends to come through the difficult times, isn't it? I remember when I was kind of just going through life quite happily in my corporate career and not really pushing myself to evolve. I never even thought about purpose. I just thought, well, life is just basically you have a relationship, you have a job that pays you a paycheck. Like you said, you're kind of like a cog in the machine, in the kind of societal machine. When I went through my own dark night of the soul, as it's called in shamanic circles, it's like that is like a deep cleansing is the way I see it now. And whatever parts of you cannot withstand that fire that you're in internally get burnt away, and what's left is like the core, the true essence of who you are, and then purpose can come through because you're reconnected again and realigned with who you really are. So those times are I think essential, in unraveling things and revealing things like purpose. They really do strip you away to the core of who you are, to reveal why you're really here.
This is an amazing and incredibly exciting detective work, because as soon as we realize something else is running our life that is not pleasant, that doesn't make us happy, that doesn't make us fulfilled, and you are in such a pain, when you slow down, you do not force those things you do on an everyday basis just because you are supposed to, but you just give away everything, whatever is inside of your head, and you just become open for what else might be possible. For example, one of my clients was working so hard. She doesn't really enjoy the work, and she's not finding it fulfilling where she's according to her qualifications and superpowers. So she does amazing things outside work as well. Plus, she's a single mom, and she looks after her son as well. That means she's always last in the row. And now an illness had to come that slowed her down a bit. And after just only 4 days, she realizes, oh my goodness me, if I look after myself better, everybody else will benefit.
Yes.
And we need to, sometimes our body keeps the score, and sometimes it pulls the handbrake and says, okay, the direction is wrong. Think about it again.
And that almost needs to happen, doesn't it? We need to hit a wall before we're forced to change. That's
if we are in
where I went.
Autopilot, you cannot in control. You need to get the awareness. You need to be in the present moment to make that decision. Consciously, that yes, I switch it off and I will take it from here.
Love it. Well, let's go back to the original topic then, where we talk about stress, because it is almost an undeniable feature of modern life, isn't it? Because like you said, for example, you've got somebody who is working a job, looking after a family, you've got your own health to prioritize as well. I mean, I can think back to my life. I had a job and a business at the same time, as well as working on relationships and paying bills and everything. So it's what it does. In my experience, is that it's people are constantly in this doing mode, constantly taking action, and from the moment they wake up in the morning, the mind is in overdrive, this fight or flight mode. It's like, what have I got to do today? Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And then when the mind is constantly in this overdrive mode and it doesn't get time to unwind and come to a place of stillness, you're working all day, you're taking action, you've got deadlines to hit, then you've got to feed the kids. And then, you might have a moment to sit down, you watch Netflix in the evening, and then you lie down at night And of course, because the mind hasn't had any chance to unwind, it's still in overdrive mode. You lie down to sleep. Oh, I want to sleep now. But the mind is going round and round and round and round and round. And of course, that affects your sleep, makes you more exhausted. And so it's like this vicious cycle, isn't it? That people can get trapped in. So how can we start to deal with this constant state of anxiety and fight or flight that many people find themselves in our society?
Well, I think as everything else, it starts with prevention. Not to deal with the problem, but prevent it from happening. We need to start teaching our children, or I'd love to see a world where we teach our children to learn mindfulness, that they can have more time and more ability or skill to reconnect with their true essence. If we are taught we only will be happy if we achieve that, if I will get that title, if I will have that dream holiday or dream car, if it's always externally driven, it's going to be our downfall. It's just a matter of time. You can get until the end of your life, but there is a huge chance you will die from guilt, shame, and disappointment. So to live a fulfilled life, you need to know who you are. What makes you feel happy? So the most important thing, firstly, I would ask, is it the right thing I'm doing, for example? Do I want to do this? Do I enjoy it? And monitor your energy. Does it increases my energy or it depletes my energy? If it depletes your energy, just think about that. If you do not recover, where will it end? If you do not put the petrol into the car, you are going nowhere. Think about that. Always check your car before you travel. Monitor
That's a great
your energy.
way.
Do more things that energizes you and eliminate those that depletes your energy, or find a different way how you do things that won't deplete your energy that much.
That's a great way of looking at it. That's a great check-in, isn't it? Like if you're finding that you're coming home from work, like I did in my corporate career in advertising, and you're completely depleted and you really have no energy to do anything else apart from just sit down and watch TV, that's a sign that you're working out of alignment. Because what I found is that I would, be completely exhausted at the end of a day working in my career in advertising. But I find that I can work the same hours now in the business I do now and feel energized. I can come on a podcast like this and it energizes me. I can go on a call with my client, it energizes me. So it's actually adding to my energy as I go through the day. Now, that's not to say that I don't have days where I do feel stress. When you're in entrepreneurship, you have months that are amazing and everything's coming together and there's financial overflow, and there are days where it's a bit more restricted. That's kind of natural. And so I do think that a certain amount of stress is expected, and even a good thing, because for me, stress means that you're pushing your limits a bit. If you're not stressed, then it's an indication that you're kind of in the comfort zone a bit in life, which is not good either. So I think there is a balance to be achieved. And if you're pushing yourself to evolve and try something new, there is going to be some stress because you don't know what you're doing. You're kind of in the white belt mentality, which is a good thing. But then there's a level beyond that where it becomes toxic, and then it can deplete you, and then it has an effect on your mental health, on your relationships, on your finances. Everything is affected by that. So I love that check-in. Is it energizing you or is it depleting you? And that doesn't mean, I always say this to my clients, that doesn't mean you go instantly to work the next day and hand in your resignation. I'm done with this. Sometimes it's taken out of our hands, like it sounds like it was with you, where it's literally the job is gone and it's, I have to do something else. I've got no choice. But the way I recommend is keep the job for now. Keep doing your best in your job because it provides the financial support for you to build something new. What a lot of coaches will do is say, well, go in the next day, hand in your notice and start building the business. What that does is it puts you into a state of even more overwhelm and fight or flight. Yeah. And so the energy going into the business is going to be poor quality. You're going to attract the wrong people and not get great results. So it certainly just start building slowly in the background. Maybe you're spending an hour a day on building something aligned with your purpose. First of all, you've got to get clear on what your purpose is, which is really important. Then you can start building something, a personal brand, whatever that is to you. On the side, start bringing in some clients. It creates some financial overflow for you. You build a safety net. And then when the time is right and the business is matching your salary or close enough to, you can make that step across without sending yourself into a complete panic and overwhelm. So it's that's a really important thing I discovered on my own path. It doesn't mean you have to overnight step into a life of purpose and complete, fulfillment and energy through your work. It does need to be done over a prolonged period, in my experience. Would you agree, Thomas?
I do agree. And there are many, many things you mentioned, and I can resonate with. For example, I'm a Qigong instructor as well, and that is the yin and yang concept. They need to be in balance. Too much yin will don't give you the power, the fire to act. And too much yang will burn you. That will lead to overwhelm and burnout. So what we need is the ideal growth is between equal amount of challenge and reward, or challenge and support. If we find that balance, we are on the right track, but we need them both. 100% agree.
So I guess yin and yang, it would be like the masculine and feminine energies. So doing and being. Yeah, exactly. We'll go a bit more into Qigong in a moment and about that, because I'm really interested. But I agree. It is finding a balance. You need to have, and the way I always talk about aligned action is, if I wake up one morning and I'm really energized and I'm feeling passionate and excited to do work, I'll step into the doing, the masculine energy, just doing, creating and very busy. But then if I wake up one day or I feel depleted later in the day, I'll go into the more feminine energies of being, and just literally, okay, I'm going to surrender now. I'm going to focus on healing and processing this energy, this overwhelm that's in my system. What I think is missing for a lot of high achievers is that balance.
Absolutely.
So they're stuck in the masculine, which is doing all the time, taking action, and there's no time for healing and being.
They're human beings, not human. Sorry, they are human doings, not human beings.
Yeah. So this is why it's crucial to have daily practices that we can integrate that help us balance ourselves out. For some people it's walking in nature or, whatever it might be, but different practices, journaling, for example, I find meditation to be powerful because literally I am fully surrendering. I'm bringing mind and body to rest. And for me, healing happens when we bring mind and body to rest. That's particularly powerful if we work in community as well, as I found. When we're on our own, the system is generally still can be stuck in doing mode, thinking mode. If we've got somebody there to provide energetic support, then the system is much more likely to be able to co-regulate and relax. But I'm interested to hear more about Qigong then, in detail. So what does that involve? What are the kind of practices that you do on a daily basis and help people with?
Qigong was something that stuck with me when I was in my deepest emotional pit. I started to do some self-development journey and self-discovery, basically, because I had no idea who I am, what my values are, what is important to me, what do I stand for, how do I want it all to end, what legacy I want to leave behind. And while I was doing this, I was listening to audiobooks on YouTube. And in the advertisement break, there was something weird and wonderful, and that was about Qigong. And that's when I started to follow the teacher and after certificate and so on, because it just grew on me. I cannot tell you how magnificent this is. It combines the feminine, the masculine, the yin and yang, the doing, the being, absolute harmony. What it does, it aligns the body, mind, and spirit. And that is what we are missing. That is the key word, alignment. If you do something, if you overdo something, you will pay the price. But if you find the balance, that is balance, I mean alignment, because we are keep changing. The balance is somewhere else all the time, but at least you are aligned. And everything is changes in life. It's just a matter of how quick you find your alignment again. And that helps us to become more receptive to our inner world, to our spirit, increase our intuition. On the other hand, it's incredibly amazing for our body because it doesn't only provide muscle gain, but also the body-mind coordination. The breath work is there. That is the bridge between mind and body. Looks after the joints, the bone health, and absolutely the full package. And that's why I love it so much. I practice it every single day.
Amazing, amazing. And it brings, this is the thing that I find sometimes I'll speak to someone who just doesn't really resonate with meditation. I mean, my program's a foundation is meditation basically. And for some people, they're just not, doesn't suit them so well, you know, just kind of sitting and watching the mind. For them, that's just not something they're called to do. So something like Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga might be a better way for them to find that stillness and balance.
Absolutely. I started with meditation, self-hypnosis. It just didn't work. My mind was so overactive. I started yoga, cross-leg position sitting. I had such a bad posture. I couldn't hold that position comfortably. So I couldn't relax. I couldn't observe my mind. And that's why Qigong was the right fit for me, because that is a moving meditation. In Tai Chi, that is a younger baby of Qigong, 800 years.
Right.
Tai Chi, Qigong is about 4,000 or 5,000 years, originated from shamanism as well. So that is just, you mostly are in one place. You do not move anywhere, but you breathe together with your body and you can move. And that is so relaxing for my mind. I didn't have to hold that posture all the time, like in yoga, that I always refer to as, it's honestly, I love yoga, but sometimes it's just a bit stretched too far for me. Over here in Qigong, there is a rule. There is no pain, there is no pain. As soon as your body sends a signal, that's enough today, you stop or modify the exercise. Either you stop or modify. Tomorrow, you will be better, you will go further, but you always go up to 80% until it doesn't hurt. Because pain is a kind of stress. Your body is trying to talk to you. And in our Western exercises, everybody is chasing personal best, 5 gram heavier lifting, running even more ultra marathons. I don't know how thankful our body for these things in the long run. One of the teachers I learned from, he learned from a teacher in China who was at the age of 106. At 106 years old lady, she taught 2 classes a day, 5 days a week at the age of 106. So that is when, this is how I would like to get old, when I'm fully functional physically, spiritually, and mentally. And this gives me even hope towards the future, because I cannot spend every single day with my child anymore. But when I do, I would like to be 100% me for a really, really long time.
Well, isn't that amazing to think that, I mean, I'm 45 now. Amazing to think that if you look after yourself and do the right practices on a daily basis, you could still have 60 years ahead of you working on your purpose and helping as many people as possible.
Absolutely, with increased awareness.
And yes, increasing your capacity, increasing your awareness, increasing your energy levels.
Because there is no pain, there is peace.
Yes.
You can focus better, you can perform better.
So what about now, if somebody's listening to this and thinking, wow, this sounds great, I'd love to explore this a bit more. First of all, Thomas has got an amazing channel on LinkedIn, which I'll drop in the description below, and the website as well. But what if somebody's sitting here now and they're like me? They spend most of the day, I mean, I do workout and meditation in the morning. I go for a walk, half an hour walk at lunchtime. But, you know, if most of the time, most of the people watching this will be like me, where they're sitting in front of a laptop most of the day, you know, and working. What are some of the kind of practical applications of Qigong for a busy professional or entrepreneur who is at their screen most of the day?
Qigong is a life force energy moving effortlessly in our body. So that gives us the best way of living, the best opportunities till the end of our lives. The human body is not designed to sit all day long or experience high stress, high intensity stress on a regular basis. It's just not. It's stress is designed to keep us alive. Those hormones should be in our body for a short period of time until the danger is gone. But after that, it does more damage and more harm to us. So we need to identify our body is not designed to sit all day long. First tip, guys, get up, move about, set your alarm clock. Honestly, every maximum 45 minutes, get up and stretch. This is the easiest thing you can do for yourself. There are certain exercises as well that you can do that moves the entire body, not just, your legs or arms, but think about your spine, how much pressure it gets compressed if we are sitting all day long. Our body was designed to move naturally. That's what we overlook. If we just put weight on our muscles and bones, you won't be as flexible. You won't dance through life. You will force yourself through life, but not dance with joy. And that is it all about. Monitor your emotions, monitor your energy, and also monitor every single pain and discomfort in your body, because that is a feedback mechanism. Where is lack of chi, and there is stagnation. Where the energy flows freely, it's like a river. There is no current, no turbulence, nothing. As soon as you put an obstacle into the water, you will see the water behaves differently. That is your energy inside as well. Pain, discomfort, pay attention. As I like to say it, where is tension, pay attention.
That's really interesting. It kind of aligns with what I teach, actually. I mean, I literally talk about this in one of my modules, which is the flowing stream, a clear current, which is, I think, how we come into life, with this kind of clear current of energy that comes down from the crown chakra, down the top of the head, down the energetic system, the chakra system, and then out through the root chakra at the bottom of the spine. And that's how we come in. You look at a child, look at my daughter who's 7, and yes, she has this polarity of emotions, but she's able to move through emotional experiences very quickly. For example, there was one day last week where she liked a boy in school, and she found out that he liked another girl. Oh my word, it was devastating for her. On top of that, she's an only child. She found out one of her best friends is having a sister. Oh, a terrible day for her. And she came home. She's repressed all these emotions in school because you can't just constantly burst out crying in school. She comes home, she feels safe with us, and she just cried throughout the whole evening, because she's just releasing, emotional release. And this is, for me, what a healthy, balanced human being is, ability to just kind of process emotions. But the problem is, as adults, we get conditioned into suppressing certain parts of ourselves, suppressing anger, suppressing sadness or depression or stress or anxiety. And we're drinking to numb it, or we're watching television to avoid it, or eating food. And so we're constantly pushing away these emotions. And what I experience in my own life is these emotions don't go away. They build up and get stored in the body. And so eventually what you get is like a boulder in the stream. When you don't feel through these emotions, they create a blockage somewhere. So instead of the stream running freely down our energetic system, it gets disturbed. And so you have the series of boulders then in the stream, and our energy isn't flowing with the same, in a streamlined way. And it's lowering our vibration, essentially. It's disturbing the energy that rose through our body. And that creates low vibration emotions like stress, anxiety, and depression, etc., because our energetic system is blocked. And so a lot of work I do is just literally bringing awareness into the body and feeling through these really uncomfortable emotions. Sometimes it's a sensation, sometimes it's a tightening in the stomach or a pressure on the center of the chest. And we just bring awareness out of the thinking mind, because we can't heal from the thinking mind, back into the body and feeling through all these suppressed emotions, basically, which show up as different sensations within our bodies. And it just kind of reminded me of that, because there is no education about that in our society, is there? There's no one in school is teaching us about how to heal ourselves and process emotions. It's just literally find a job and, retire one day, and then, maybe you'll live for a few years and that's the end. But I'm glad that this kind of teachings are coming into popular consciousness now in the West.
I really, really hope so. This is time, and this is why I love so much, to merging the Western approach or attitude with the Eastern wisdom. These teachings are here for 5,000 years for a reason, because they work.
They work.
And let's see the data. The men, middle-aged or adult men, 4 times more of them commit suicide than women. Why? One of the reasons, because we are not taught how to handle our emotions in a healthy way. We suppress them instead of allowing to run through us, even though how painful they are. If we give space, they will find a way, like water. They will run through us. There will be the experience. There will be the pain. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And if we suppress these emotions, we set ourselves for long, long suffering with consequences in our body and spirit as well. This is not good for us, and we will bleed, and we will bleed everybody else around us. That's why we need to learn what works for us, what is the effective way to deal with our emotions.
Yes. Whatever way we find that works for us doesn't really matter. Like something that Thomas is saying, you feel like, yes, that's the one for me, or something I'm saying, you feel like it works for me, or something completely different. You just need to find a way to balance the feminine and the masculine energy. So if you're doing all the time and you never stop, then ultimately there's no processing going on here. So eventually these emotions are going to back up in your system, and it's going to lead to burnout or breakdown or something's going to break down somewhere. So what about then EFT? I mean, I know about EFT because I've tried it during my challenges in the past, but how does that fit in with Qigong then? Do the two kind of fit together?
Yeah, absolutely. They are. I didn't know at the beginning, because I found EFT sooner than Qigong, and EFT is based on Qigong, and I tell you why.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. I was amazed.
Yeah.
There are certain energy highways running in our body. They called meridians. And we have certain points or energy switches called acupuncture points, that if you go to a professional traditional Chinese medicine practitioner or acupuncturist, they know exactly where to insert the needle, in which angle to activate that energy switch. Now, EFT is using certain energy switch points. So I didn't know that, but it's absolutely amazing. Different meridian lines. For example, this is the central governing these 2 points. This is the stomach point, the stomach meridian. So they are sending calming signal to the brain. If you relive the experience, what you would like to, that challenges you emotionally, if you talk about that, this is where the talking therapy part comes, the Western side. You do something that is based on the Eastern wisdom. You are tapping on certain meridian points that sends calming signal to the brain. So your brain will disconnect from the previous reaction and basically reset your attitude towards that past event.
Yes, for anyone who hasn't heard that term before, it's emotional freedom technique, I think is what it's called. But I guess that's kind of a Western modern name for it. But these, like you said, these things go back a long, long way.
Absolutely.
Could you give us a practical example of that? I know you noticed you were tapping on certain areas there, but this might be something that someone could do during the day, I'm guessing, if they feel stress coming to the surface. Is that something you'd recommend?
I recommend to try absolutely everything. And after a while, just slow down, stop doing everything, and ask yourself when you finished, does it work? Do I feel better? And if it is, please, I encourage you to do more for your own sake. So that is something, for example, that if I go through challenging life events and I do not have that much control, it helps me a little bit to send the calming signals, even though, I'm going through the scenario. I just go through the basic points. The basic points I can teach, or you can teach in minutes to anyone. Why does it work? They don't necessarily need to know. What they need to know to learn to focus on their story and just tap gently on certain points. And that will do the trick for some and may not for others. But that is, as I said, fine, because we want to have those people who it works for. We cannot have those people if we do not have those tools. That will help them, but they need to find the right practitioner.
Yeah, that is the thing. That's a really important thing. I hope people take away from this episode is that we all will have different practices that work for us. Like I said, meditation
unique
works beautifully for me. Yeah, exactly. You try these things out. I mean, for me, I've had tremendous benefit as well from plant medicine. I don't know if you've heard about ayahuasca and all these different medicines. I mean, that is a tremendous benefit. But I always say I don't recommend that because it really is like a complete. You can experience ego death. You can feel like you're going mad, basically, because these things really do push you to the absolute edge of what you can handle and beyond. So I never recommend it to anybody unless you feel really called, because I know some people have been over there to South America and it hasn't helped. Or in fact, it's made their condition even worse. So you have to really, this is where intuition comes in, like really tune in. Like, how does the idea of EFT feel to you? If you're getting a yes in your system, then that's probably the path for you. If you're getting a yes from what I talk about meditation, then follow that. It's all about getting in touch with your intuition and following that, as opposed to what somebody tells you should do.
In my journey, I use EFT and that worked for me. So that's why it stuck with me. There is a part that is called a technique called past peace procedure or something like that. PPP, I don't remember. I think it's past peace procedure. When you set some time aside with yourself and with your thoughts without any disruption, and you try to go back and find all the incredibly painful events since you can remember, and you score them or rate them from 0, absolutely nothing, obviously it wouldn't be painful, to 10, that is so unbearable you do not even want to think about it. It can be war related, rape, or these type of things.
Traumas.
So you write them down, and after if you are brave enough to go through the events and the tapping procedure, there is a good chance it will reduce your score time after time. And that's what I did, and that's what it worked for me.
I imagine really important to have support, though. This is something I'm always reiterating, like you want to have support when you go through this stuff, because like you said, if you're going through the really darkest points in your life, you haven't got somebody there to kind of support you and hold the space. Then what I found with like counseling aside the therapy is that we talk about this stuff, we bring it to the surface, but because there's no processing, because we're still in our heads talking about it, it just like re-traumatizes the system over and over and over again. It doesn't process anything. So with my clients, we talk about this stuff, what's coming to the surface, and then we drop the mind and we feel through the body to process the energy out. So I think it's really important to have support if you're going to go through the darkest aspects of your past or society, or whatever it might be that's triggering you.
One of my coach always says it, when you do it alone, you do it wrong. That is the power of the support. There are certain things we need to figure it out, but just imagine how much more happens when there is a collective energy. Even a music feels differently in a live gig. Just think about you and your wife came together and created something magical called your daughter. So there is always more people creates something exceptional. The other thing is that if you want to get lasting result faster, please contact a professional. You can try to build a shed, and you may build a beautiful shed. Well done, happy days. But sometimes it will test you and your abilities, and you will be better and create it cheaper if you trust a professional first. And it's true for absolutely everything.
It is. I mean, the analogy I use is like you wouldn't climb Everest on your own, would you? What would happen if you tried to climb Everest on your own? You get lost at some point, take a wrong turn, fall down a ravine, and not not come back. But this is an analogy for basically for anything like that. If you want to heal yourself and you start off on your own, you've got no guide to help you. That's what will happen. You'll go around in circles. Same as if you want to build a business, for example, you try and do it on your own. I've tried this in the past. You end up going in circles and going absolutely nowhere. When you've got a guide who knows the territory, knows where they're going, you make progress so much faster and go so much further. When you've got somebody who knows who's walked the path before. And somebody might be thinking now, I'm just thinking about somebody who's an entrepreneur or a busy professional. The reason why these who's thinking, well, I'm just too busy. I've got all this stuff to do. I've got all these emails. And the reason why this stuff is crucial is because basically your career or your business is a reflection of you, more importantly, your energetic system. So any block that you're seeing in your business, for example, the wrong clients are showing up, or you're not getting enough leads, or in your career it's stalled and you can't get the next promotion, it's basically reflecting part back to you, an unhealed aspect of yourself. When I learned this for the first time, I found it incredibly empowering, because when you realize that the external is basically reflecting back the internal, in other words, you generate your reality from within. Anywhere where you're blocked in the external, the solution is not out there, trying to fix it out there. The solution is within. So if you heal the trauma that's being reflected back to you, you'll notice that all of a sudden you start getting results again in your business or your career or your finances, whatever it might be. So that's why this stuff is crucial, not only in your own well-being, but also if you want results in your career or your business as well.
If we don't learn to invest time in our wellness, we will be forced to invest time in our illness. And our illness will reflect in every part of our life and relationships as well. Think about that. You mentioned previously, I was utterly in the same situation. When I used to work as a conference services manager, pleasing all the clients all day long, fix all the problems what came up and make sure they live happy and they bring back money and many referrals, returning businesses. I was good at it and it was great. But by the time I got home and I got a newborn baby in the house, I only had energy to spend a little time with my baby. And I didn't have as much energy for my wife. End result, bitter divorce.
Yes, there you go.
If I would have read my energy better previously, maybe, just maybe, there is a different outcome.
Yeah, exactly. This is all the way you show up energetically affects everything. Like you said, it will affect your relationships, it will affect your work, it will affect your finances. Everything is tied to your own energy, your own vibration. Everything reflects
your social influence, absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. So this is, we need to start with awareness. Are we happy where we are? If we are not happy where we are, what can I do to increase my energy? How can I do those things that makes me feel, I wouldn't use that makes me feel happier, because there are the coping mechanisms. Look at that way. That is sustainable and constantly increase my energy without hangover or any negative side.
Well, I like what you said that, because a lot of people are striving for happiness, but happiness really, for me, well-being is not about being always happy. It's about, I would say, the ability to be with your present moment experience, and that might be happiness, it might be sadness, it might be overwhelm, it might be grief, or whatever's there. Your ability to be with the emotion and not get caught up in the mind of thinking about it, which is the suffering. So it's not necessarily optimizing for being happy all the time, although you do feel happier as you commit to these healing practices. But it's more about the confidence that comes from, okay, whatever happens in the business or the career or the relationship, I can be with what's happening within myself. And so that gives you a lot of stability and ground as you move through life's challenges.
As I see it, those kind of things that goes you, that excites you, needs an outcome. But when you are aligned, you just feel happy. You just feel in your element. You are more able to enjoy the present moment. You notice things that you normally wouldn't if you are a busy high performer and stuck in your head and thinking about the data, about achieving this, about the stuff issue. You need to learn to switch off, because that is not going to be the area people will talk about on your funeral or at your funeral. You need to create a person who was meant to born on this planet to do something remarkable, and that is to collect profound life experiences.
Amazing. Yeah, and have a real impact with your work. You know, for a lot of people, work is a means to an end, isn't it? Just survival. But you can actually, like we come in full circle, thriving through work, you're making an impact, you're in alignment with your values and your passions, and it becomes something that gives you energy instead of depletes you, which I think a lot of people have just accepted. Oh, work, it's something that I have to do. And, you know, it'll always be there. And hopefully I can retire one day and I can get rid of it. But what if it was something that actually you loved as much as anything else in life and actually gave you vitality and energy that then spilled over and had a positive impact on the other areas of life as well?
People don't believe they are allowed to be themselves. People taught from early age how to behave, what to say, when to say it, what kind of options do we have in life, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, how we fit in. Standing out is not the best thing to do. Creativity is not always the nicest thing because it won't pay your bills. These type of stereotypes prevent us to be truly who we are. And that's what we need to learn. I just would like to ask any high performers, are you happy with where you are, how you wake up in the morning and how you go to bed? Are you happy with your energy throughout the day? Do you enjoy being yourself? How do you feel when you look into the mirror? Can you spend half an hour in a quiet room just by yourself? Or your thoughts will drive you crazy?
Good question.
If you say, I'm a high performer, but I'm absolutely buzzing, I love every part of my life, happy days. Unfortunately, it's not the case for most of the people.
Yes. And it's beautiful to be a high performer, high achiever, you know, want to create grand things in the world, but you have to, it's even more important to prioritize your own well-being and your own energy levels, because you can't serve effectively if you're constantly depleted. So it becomes even more important the more impact you want to have and the more, you know, you want to stand into your potential. You have to spend even more time on these energetic hygiene practices, as I call them. Because you're going to be taking on more energy from the people that you're serving, people you're impacting. You know, you open yourself up to more criticism potentially. So you need to have a way to process all these different opinions and find your center, you know, as you grow. Yeah, beautiful episode, Thomas. Thanks so much for joining. We'll end it there. Hopefully people have had a lot of value. I'm sure they have. Where would you like to direct people to if they want to find out more about you? The website or LinkedIn or whatever? Where's the best place to find out more?
Well, my Instagram, that is not that active, but similar to the YouTube channel, easy to remember, at Tamas, that is my name, Tamas Coach, together, at Tamas Coach. And my name is Tamas Konya, and I'm found on LinkedIn as well, and the website is tamascoach.com. Most important thing, guys, reach out. That saved my life. When there was no NHS for me, I contacted a life coach and I booked a 25 minutes free discovery session, no obligation call. That gave me such an insight, such a clarity for the future that helped me to be here and share this information. So please, 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 we are here to help. And if you just book that call, you may walk out with nothing, but I doubt that. You will get something out of that call and it costs you nothing. But be brave and reach out. If it's Mark, happy days. If it's me, happy days. If it's somebody else, happy days. Why? Because there is world peace through inner peace. So find your inner peace, guys. Just invest in it.
That's why we're here. I like what you said there. I mean, I'm sure anyone could reach out to Thomas and have a free call with him. Same as me, I offer a free alignment call, 30 minutes. We can just check in. As usual, thebuddhaspot.com. I've got a free assessment on there, purpose alignment assessment. You go through a list of about 16 questions to check in how aligned you are right now, inner and outer purpose. So as Thomas said, if you're aligned with Thomas, check out his website. If you're aligned with what I'm saying, thebuddhaspot.com. But most importantly, we all need support. I still need support. Thomas still needs support. You know, we always have more healing to do, always more work to do on ourselves. And we're much better and healthier in community. with each other. That's how human beings are at their best, I think.
I would like to thank you very much, Mark, for having me. It was absolutely amazing. I really, really hope our audience will find it beneficial. And this is what they needed to hear right now. I'm part of a coaching group, and there are high achievers. There are professional speakers, athletes, so many people. And there are, for example, people who fight for money, professional fighters.
UFC.
But this is about the group, about growing, healing together and sharing what works for us. And that is a clear indicator there is no one size fits all. As one of my coach, JP, would say, don't become a fighter if you do not accept being punched in the face. So choose your fight, be yourself and shine. The most important thing, learn to maximize your energy no matter what you do, but surround yourself with the right people. Also, the same person said that if you want to become a champion, surround yourself by champions.
Oh, like it. What is it? Environment dictates performance,
Dictates
doesn't it? You said we come one big loop, come back to the start again.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Thomas. Thanks so much for joining. And hopefully, once this episode is out, people can check it out, and then we'll have you back on again soon at some point, and we'll see it, check in where you're at.
It would be a great pleasure, Mark. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Thanks all for joining. Bye for now.